Welcome, everyone, to today's webinar. I'm Julie Stickler, reporter with Becker's Healthcare. We will begin today's webinar with a presentation, and we'll have some time at the end for a question and answer session. You can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar by typing them into your control panel in the space labeled "Enter a Question for Staff" and clicking Send. We are looking forward to hearing your questions. Also, throughout today's webinar, we will have a few poll questions to the audience. The poll questions will pop up directly on your screen, and then you can select your answer from the options and click Submit. Additionally, in about a week following the webinar, we will be sending you a copy of the presentation to the email you used to register. At this time, it is now my pleasure to turn the floor over to today's presenter, Stephen Kovach, Director of Education at Healthmark Industries.
Thank you, Julie, and welcome everybody. And Beckers, thank you for partnering with Healthmark today to go over proper peel pouch sealing. This here is a little bit about me with how you can get a hold of me, a phone number and email and our website. And I have a little quote, something I believe in and we believe here at Healthmark is some people say that knowledge is power, but I say the real power is when you share your knowledge with others. So please share the knowledge you gained today with others where you work. As it stated, this is being recorded and you'll be able to replay this. This is our disclosure, and just to let you know, I'm an employee of Healthmark and that we do distribute and make products, and that these are the opinions of the presenter. And when we talk about different things in that, you still need to make sure you understand and read the instructions for use in that of various products and medical devices. This here is also our policy. What we try to do is prevent education and to help you do a better job with better outcomes for your patient. As we stated, we're going to ask a few poll questions, and we're going to find out who's out here. And so we're now going to go to the first poll question, and I'll turn it back over. And the first poll question is, who's attending today? We'd like you to click for a few seconds. Let's see who's out there. Thank you. Give me a couple more seconds. Go ahead.
So it looks like the majority of our audience is in sterile processing, followed by infection control and operating room.
Okay. We're now going to go to our second poll question. We just want to know where our audience is from the United States, Canada, or somewhere else throughout the world, just to give us a little knowledge. And while you're taking that, I'll share that because people in Europe and Asia, they already are doing some of the things I'm going to talk about because it's in our ISO standards. And this will just give us a little idea as I talk to everybody out here and review what's going on with proper sealing when it comes to peel pouches. A couple more minutes and I'll share the results. A couple more seconds, I mean.
It looks like 88% of our audience is from the United States and 12% is from Canada.
Okay, so I'm going to now go to the next screen. And again, if you have questions, there's a little box you can submit on the chat, and they'll send them to me at the end of the program. And we'll do our best to answer as many questions as we can at the end of the webinar. And for those that are not answered, there's a way for me to get your information, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's get down to the brass tacks here of why you're here today. Attending this program is one way to help you maintain your skills and knowledge and critical thinking needed to reprocess medical devices to make sure they're clean and functional and ready for the next stage of reprocessing. And the stage we're going to focus on is a peel pouch and placing items in a peel pouch, but also making sure that you have a good, reliable seal that will hold once you seal it. Traditionally, peel pouches are sealed two different ways, heat sealer or by self-sealing. Both have positive and negative features, and the concern is how can you ensure that you have a good, reliable seal? And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to show you some bad pictures of some bad seals throughout this presentation. So the objectives is a little background information. There's proper ways to seal pouch, heat sealable and self-sealable. And there's methods to test these to help verify that you're sealing them properly. There's a manual process and a mechanical process. We're going to discuss those different two techniques today briefly, and we're going to show how the standards support that you should probably be doing this as a quality improvement project, and you should be doing this daily on checking that you're sealing properly. So background information, we all know that pill pouches are a Class II medical device, and that is very important. So the people who manufacture the pill pouches must send them and submit it to the FDA. And the pill pouch is a Class II because the definition is the primary purpose and function of a packaging material, whether it's a pack, sterilization bag, wrap, or accessories, is to enclose a medical device that is to be sterilized by a healthcare provider. It is intended to allow sterilization of the closed device and also to maintain sterility of the device until it is used. Thus, open in a sterile field, or you open up aseptically, whether it's in an ER, an OR, or wherever it's at. A pill pouch falls into this classification, so you must have a sealing process for the pill pouch that can be verified. So, I now want to talk about what I call types of pouches, what they're made out of. There's basically your paper, poly, paper, plastic, and those are usually used for steam and ethylene oxide sterilization. It's a paper, medical grade paper on one side and then a laminate on another. What is different is each manufacturer has their own way of producing the film and using medical grade paper. Not all are the same product. We have the Sterilizer Wheatback pill pouch. Has the most laminate layers. It's a 10X. Some do not have it. And the grade of paper, how thick or thin, is very important on how strong it will hold up. The other one is Tyvek, and that's used for basically EO, plasma, low temperature sterilization. And that is a Tyvek on one side, and then your laminate or your polypropylene laminate on the other side. And again, this is basically for EO, gas, plasma, low temperature sterilization systems, because those are in low temperature and they can take and withstand that. So now you have your types of pouches, and now we get into how do you seal them. There's basically two types. Heat seal, which you use a piece of equipment, or self-seal, which you hold in there as an adhesive that you will press and go, and we'll talk about that. Now, the pouches come how? They come heat sealable, pre-cut, certain sizes. Some companies offer a few, many offer many different sizes. Or self-seal, where you don't use a heat sealer. And those, again, come in many different sizes and shapes. There's gusseted rolls, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And roll stock, where there's different widths, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 inches, and then you cut it appropriately, and you would heat seal those. So again, it's this combination of what you use in your department. So question number 3 is, I'd like you to read, what type of pouches do you use in your department? Heat seal, self-seal, or both? It'll take a few seconds for you to answer that question. A couple more seconds. And looks like everybody's about done answering, and the results are being shown up on your screen. And what do we have there?
It looks like we have the majority of our audience, about 50%, who use both heat and self-seal pouches.
So many people are doing combination. That means you're going to have to verify your seal 2 different ways. And we have one more poll question here. Do you use the following pill pouches in your department? Gusseted, or the roll stock, where it comes in the different widths and you cut it? Or do you use a combination and have both in your department? We'll give you a few seconds to answer that question, and we'll see where we're at. Thank you for taking time to answer these questions. Got a couple more seconds there, And I think we're ready to reveal the answers and what does it look like.
So about 59% of our audience are using both roll stock and gusset, while 19% use just roll stock and 22% use just gusset.
Okay, thank you. Wow, quite diversification there. So the primary focus today is how do you know I have a good seal? How do you verify my process and reduce bad seals? As you can see on the screen, I have circled here. Look at, I call them rivers. This is a bad heat seal, and thus if you don't have a good seal, that then is a pathway for microorganisms to go. Also, we know that in sterilization, steam sterilization, having air pockets is no good. And you can see here that in this self seal, look at the opening here, and you can trace it all the way back. That is bad seals. So we're going to talk about how you can help your staff do a better job sealing and what can you do. So we all want to know, all of a sudden I'm now telling you, you have to find a way to test your equipment and do a competency on your staff. And the first thing is, where is it in the standards? Who's telling me to do this? Well, the first one is many people use Joint Commission. And in Joint Commission, they have a standard EC 6.20 that states all medical equipment is maintained, tested, and inspected. For any of you who have a heat seal in your department, your biomed department, it's a term I use, a little older, so I'm just used to using biomed. They've probably placed an equipment sticker on there, and that's in the inventory of your hospital. So that means it is tracked and monitored. And most people just do electrical testing in that. There's a way that you should be making sure you get a good seal and you document it. Also, majority of departments use various AAMI documentation, AAMI standards and guidelines. And there's one, it's called Anti-AAMI 11607, Part 1 and 2, and that deals with sterile barriers. And within there, there is a section on pill pouching, and this dovetails into the ISO standard 11607, which is used in Europe when it comes to sterile packaging and specifically pill pouches. I put ST90 and ST79. 79 probably should have been first, but within that document, or within both documents, they talk about sterilization and things of that nature. So within that document, they will be talking about pill pouching and so on. And then, of course, equipment. What is your equipment manufacturing doing? And then how do you verify and train your staff that they are doing it correctly? Also, as you know, I am going to briefly talk about the AAMI documents. If you don't have it, we recommend that you go to AAMI.org and purchase those documents. They should be part of what's in your library of information within your department. So Joint Commission requires hospitals to maintain medical equipment inventory. The hospital identifies the activities in writing for maintaining, inspecting, and testing of all medical equipment on the inventory. Your heat sealer falls into medical equipment. And that is taken from an AAMI publication, and you have it here. And again, all these slides will be made available to you at the end of the program for references. So we have started to build up this ladder of why you must start verifying. So again, quoting from AAMI's ST79, and I can only take part of it, can't take all of it. Again, you should make sure you have those standards in your department. A pill pouch is considered a product that provides a sterile barrier. When selecting a sterile barrier system, people should obtain the current written IFU from the manufacturer and have it readily accessible. And then one of the sections they should go to is section 2.9, and they talk about what a sterile barrier should be when you look at it, what you should look at. Puncture resistance, how do you seal, allow air removal, aseptic presentation, non-limiting, be compatible with the intended method of sterilization. Remember in the first few slides, I talked about picking the pouch to the type of sterilization. If you have low temperature, you would not use any of the paper plastic. You want to use those that are for the modality of what you're doing. Therefore, you must ensure you have a good seal of any type or kind of the pill pouch you use in your facility. How do you do that? I'm going to get to the meat of this program right now. So what you want to do is in 9.54, paper plastic pouches are generally used for small, lightweight, low profile. As you can see to the right of the screen, people are not pouching properly. There should be a tip protector there. That's a sharp point. They don't have a good seal. Look at the air. Look at how they just put this here, and it's now starting to push the seal. And you can see right here the different openings in air. And so again, you turn to ST79 to help you understand how do you use a peel pouch, how do you put something in there, and what's the best way. So the reference document, this is a standard that specifies requirements and test methods for materials for performing sterile barriers. And that is why that is a reference document that I will be quoting from when it comes to how do you test your seal on your peel pouch, whether it's made mechanically with a heat sealer or by yourself, by your staff or yourself manually. This document should be in your department. It gives requirements on both validation and what should be done, and the process includes sealing and assembly performed of sterile barriers. Again, it's a really good document, just was updated on 2015, so it's very recent. So the other document that I think you also need to know is ST90. That was just released along with ST79 back in September and October of 2017. This is the new quality document that is going to help give all departments a better roadmap of how they can start implementing quality into their department. And one way to do it is with sealing pouches. You will have to learn what the term IQ means, installation qualification, OQ, operation qualification, and performance qualification. What happens when you get the piece of equipment in? Does it meet the specifications? How do you test it? How do you then verify and make sure that it is working the way the company intended it to be used in your department? So this document, along with ST79, is really going to give you this great roadmap on some of the tools, and I'm going to show you to start implementing in your department. So check the seal, verify for a good seal. Your equipment, the heat sealer needs a test, and the seal quality for those that are both done manually with a self-seal, but you can also use the dye test for seals that are produced mechanically. If you have a package that's like that, that's a pretty bad seal. You can tell it's bad. But how do you tell other types? So you want to put in place what I call your IQ, OQ, PQ. When you get it, does it meet the qualifications? Before you put it out, you're operational. And then is it performing to the standards that you've set? So let's start getting into this here. A self-seal, high risk of air channels because it's a human error that people are pushing their thumbs and putting even pressure from the middle all the way out. The seal integrity is dependent on the end user's handling. Up to now, it's been hard to verify, and we're going to give you ways to do that. The quality is hard to control because everybody's a little different. Some people push harder, some people don't push as much as they do the seal. Different companies have different bonds and sealing, and yes, that is the difference between manufacturers, maybe by why some cultures are less expensive than others. Tapes provide a limited shelf life. Glue does dry out, so you need to follow your IFUs. Some IFUs might say that they must be used at a certain time because of the glue. They are higher priced because when it comes to self-seal pouches. You don't have to invest in a sealer. So how do you verify that process? We're going to talk about that. Heat sealable. Airtight closure, fast and easy closing process can be validated by your biomed and verified by you, the end user. There are industrial standards that provides a safe and tight barrier against contamination. The visual check can be facilitated if you're using WePack or Sterile pouches. Ours are green, so it's a seal that you can really see better if there are some channels. When you use a heat seal pouch, it's a lower unit price usually. The choice of tubing in ready-made pouches, there are usually more varieties or sizes when it comes to heat seal. The sealer investment does pay back on safety and fastness over time and over the cost of the pouch. And how do you verify this process? Self-seal, heat seal, you both have to verify. That's what we're going to be leading up to in just a few minutes. So, heat sealable pouches need a heat sealer. You need to verify the heat sealing equipment is working. One, you follow the PMA, and that's usually by your biomed. Electrical safety and other things of that is putting the right output. Does it have a UL or CE on it? What are the different parameters that they must check? Then there's two major types of heat sealers. One is a bar sealer impulse, and the other is a continuous feed roto sealer. It doesn't matter which one you buy or use. Excuse me for a second. I have to take a drink of water. I'm sorry. But there are certain critical parameters for either of those heat sealers to work properly and for them to provide a proper pouch, a proper seal on that pouch. Temperature, pressure, and dwell time. Each pouch has its own specific range of temperature that between the laminate, whether it's Tyvek or paper, that it must get a certain temperature to melt. There must be a certain amount of pressure or force being applied to that temperature. And then it must be dwell time. How long is that temperature and that pressure going to be put to create that seal? That's what's important. And then to create a good seal, a good heat sealable seal. I think you can all already understand when it comes to a self-seal pouch, the pressure is the thumb pressure. The dwell time is how many times do they push and the glue goes. So again, you can see that a heat sealable pouch, if you think about it, you can really monitor those better than you can with the self-seal. So the bar impulse sealer. There are different pressure points, and there's this pressure bar. And my pointer should be coming across. We are creatures of habit. And because most of the time people will just keep going in the middle, they tend not to use the rest of this area along the bar. They tend to put in the middle. There are some things with this type of heat sealer. This has to be turned over time. Many people just buy heat sealers and they don't have any follow-up from the company, where the company actually will come in and train the staff. You just buy it and it shows up. Good companies, I believe, should have people come in and train you how to use that. And again, we're going to show you some pictures of creatures of habit. And because of that, and people not turning the film, creates issues. Here's a picture of a heat sealer. And you can see this here, the top picture there's a lot of burn marks. And see where there's openings there? That means when you seal it, it's not going to get a good seal. And people are not rotating this as you go. And you have to change this because over time, this wears out. But also what happens is, on many heat sealers that are out there, people do not pick the right temperature. And then they turn it up and they start burning. Again, you have to get the right temperature. So here's some that you can actually see that people don't turn it enough and they burned it, and they are going to have failed seals. And here's what happens on many of these. They just turn a number, and some old ones just click a switch. You need to verify that you have the correct seal temperature. And many people have many different types of companies, pouches, and that in itself can cause a problem. And so if you're going on 7, what is that real temperature? Oh, it's not sealing. I might go up to 7.5, maybe 8, maybe I go up to 9. As you turn it up, you start burning that film, and then you start causing problems with your seal itself. And I've seen some people say, oh, it's a good seal, it's not a problem. That is wrong. That is a bad seal. Here's an example. The next picture will be better. They're just giving you a number range, but not a real temperature range. And no two companies have the same sealing temperature. And if you turn it up too much, you will burn it. See, as you can see here, these are burnt where the temperature is too hot. So if you have an older sealer that doesn't have a temperature, make sure you can dial in the temperature, but just dialing it in isn't enough. You want to make sure that it stays in that range, and if it isn't in that range, you can't seal it. This is too hot. So the other type is dealing with continuous feed .
Did you lose a voice or a sound, Matt? Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. Hello, I'm back online. Hello, I'm back online. Something happened with my audio control. Please forgive me. We're back online. So with the continuous feed heat sealer, what's important is you can feed the product in. You can set the depth gauge so you're using it correctly. You get equal pressure as it goes across, and it's more productive. You can set your temperature. So what happens is you can set your temperature, it goes through, you get even pressure, you don't have the film to change, and depending on what type you have, it will only seal during that specific temperature. And if it falls out of range, you will be, just a second. We should be all set. It shows I'm speaking. I got a note that it dropped off, but I am back online. I'm sorry again for that. Somehow that took place. So again, the continuous roto seal gives you even pressure, temperature, and dwell time, and gives you a better seal. So what you have here is with our pouches, in a second I'm getting a message. I want to make sure I'm coming through. Can you hear me? I'm getting a message you can. So I want to make sure everything's okay. Okay, it's great. I'm sorry. We had a little technical difficulty. Sort of like working in a sterile processing area. We work in a dynamic environment. Things happen. We have to learn and adjust. So again, thank you for your patience, everybody out there. So as you can see on this heat sealer, it gives you the exact temperature you need. And so this way, if you're using this company, you know what it is. So when you have different products in your department, one, you should really standardize with one company because the temperatures could be different. And if you're not in that range of that temperature, you will not have a good, solid heat seal. So this here is another IFU from another company where they're telling you the pressure, the sealing temperature, and the sealing time. And remember when we get back to the IQ, OQ, PQ, your biomed department should be making sure those parameters are being met. And that is part of a quality system. And if you notice, they give some temperature ranges here for both low temperature and for their paper pouch. And if you notice, they are different, and they can be different between one company and the next. So how do you verify the seal? There is something very simple. There's commercial products that are available, as you can see here, that you will run through your heat sealer. You can put the date, the time. You'll actually be able to look at the seal to make sure that there is no what I call rivers or gaps, and then you can document it. This should be done every day. I personally think it should be done on every shift. That way you're making sure it's working properly. And with those push bars, I think it should be because people tend to change temperatures and you might get a bad seal. So again, they're very easy to do. Most of the companies who you buy your pouches have that. We at HealthMark actually have that product, and it's something we can share with you at any time. The next one is another question. This is question 5. What type of heat sealer do you have in your department? A bar sealer impulse or continuous feed rotor sealer, or none? I guess I maybe should have asked both. Maybe some people have both. But we'll do a couple seconds here and give you a chance to answer the questions. We have about 5 more seconds. And how's it looking there? What's going on there, Julie?
So it looks like 52% of our audience uses the bar sterile sealer impulse, while 23% use the continuous feed roto. 24% use neither.
Okay. So it looks like our impulse sealer seems to be the popular type. And again, you want to make sure that is really working properly and that you're verifying it's working. So now you have the dye test, and this can be used both for equipment and when you're staff. This helps ensure you have a practice that is providing quality seal each and every time. Again, if you look here, this bad seal, and I'm going to show that this seal is being reproduced in a certain type of heat sealer, and it's continuous. And I actually do have pictures where this was, people says, oh, that's okay, it's not a problem. This again comes in training and in servicing, both from your peel pouch manufacturer and from the people you are buying the heat sealer from. You just shouldn't have to buy it and then boom, it shows up. Whoever sells it to you should be making sure you use it properly, and you should have a competency on it. Again, a close-up of the bad seal, and you can see the couple different places where it's at, and I'm going to show you how the dye test works and can help you when it comes to making sure your machine is working properly and giving the seal, and your staff is providing a good seal. So These are all examples, again, of people just putting what they want in, no idea of how to seal a pouch, and a lot of it is the self-seal. And again, whoever you're buying it from, please make sure you bring in someone from your company to review your pouching technique, and maybe they can even help you with a little audit and go through that. I know we at HealthMark provide that for our customers because we want to make sure that you're providing the best patient care, and in this case, your pouch is sealed properly. So again, these are pictures that just should not be taking place. So, testing the seal for any type of pouch. Heat or self-seal pouches can be tested. It's called the ink pouch test or dye test. And this test is a routine testing of sealing seams integrity per ISO 11607 and ASTM F1929. Any irregularities that occur, such as channels, become visible immediately after this single pouch is broken, and you read within 5 seconds. There is no danger of the test dripping liquid or transferring onto other objects. So I'll show you in a couple slides. You read it in 5 seconds, and then after that, you would throw it away. You don't wait 30, 40, 20. 5 seconds, you read it. So here we go. It's pretty easy to use. One, it's easy to use to place the ink test pouch in the pouch before you seal it, whether it's self-seal or heat seal. You can see up here, I've got the heat seal. I'm sort of just making this test here. You apply pressure with your fingers on the pouch, enough to break the pouch, and you read the results in 5 seconds. The failures are easy to read, very easy to read. If you look here, I also have a video. I should have put it on in second thought, you know, I'll do that next time. As you see, the ink is coming through, and now look, see the little rivers starting to come through that you would not have caught visually. This is a bad seal. That is a break and sterile technique, just as you found a hole in a filter for a container or a hole in a wrap. Very easy to do. You would check your machine and then put one of these in and check and see how it's working. This here is another one. Look how it's coming through, how it leaked all the way through. These are package failures. See, it's coming through, but it isn't going all the way. These would be failures. Very easy to read. So, question number 6, and this will be the last question. And which pouches are you using in your department? I put a couple of the major company brands, Lepac, Sterry King, Cardinal, Midline, Proper, and others. If we'll get about 5 or 6 more seconds here, if you wouldn't mind answering the poll. Give it a couple more seconds. Okay, let's share the results. And how do we do? What's the results here?
So it looks like most of our audience, about 37%, use Medline, while 26% use Lepac, Sterry King, 17% use Cardinal, and 19% use another one.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That just gives us an idea of the different brands and different products, and going from there. Thank you for filling that out. We've got about 10 more slides, and then we're going to take questions. And it's about almost 1:45. I wanted to get us about 10 minutes. So, pill pouching selection process and tips. So when you're going to put an item in a pouch, determine the medical device or device to be packaged. Low profile, high profile, what does it have there? Can it fit in a pouch? Do you have a pouch that's long enough, wide enough, or whatever? Determine the sterilization modality. Is it steam, EO, or other low temperature? So you now have the device in your hand. You're now saying, okay, I can put it in a pouch. I know the IFU. What type of pouch material should it go in? So then you would pick the appropriate one. You pick the pouch to put the medical device in. You now get the proper size and type of the pouch. You place the medical device properly in the pouch. You seal the pouch according to the OEM IFU, making sure you might have an inch, inch and a half around the device. Some people say the pouch should only have 70 or 80% filled with the device. Again, work what your OEM says. Follow their IFU. Seal it, whether it's heat seal or self-seal. If it's heat seal, how much space you have, and so on. You focus on this step, on sealing the pouch. So it's pretty simple. You're using your critical thinking skills, and you're also making sure you're following your practice of putting a chemical indicator in there, marking on the pouch appropriately, on the right side, and so on. And we're going to touch on that in a minute. So tips for peel pouch: place the device inside the pouch. If it's a sharp end, put in the tip protector. Again, chemical indicators. Make sure there's enough room around as you put it in. Again, if it's got a sharp edge, I see this so many times. There's an array of peel tip protectors to use. You should be covering that. And again, place it in, use tip protectors, chemical indicators of the correct type, and make sure there's enough room around the side of the pouch. Also, write on the film side of the pouch. Using approved marker, do not write on the paper side or the Tyvek side. That will bleed through. You don't want bleeding. Pill pouches are not appropriate for use within wrap sets or containment devices such as containers that are going to be steam sterilized. That's for ANSI ST79. Again, I'm just going through some basic tips. We have a whole program on proper pill pouching, and if you're one of our customers, please contact us. We'd love to have one of our team members come in and help you understand how to use our pouches better. Double pouching. Check with your pouch manufacturers for instructions of use when choosing the double pouch. Not all pouch manufacturers have validated information on it. If you're double pouching, make sure you can double pouch. The inner and outer pouch must be arranged film to film, paper to paper. The inner pouch should not be folded. It needs to be sealed. Seal the inner packet as well as the outer one. Again, follow the OEM IFU for double pouching. That's very, very important. Most people double pouch for sterile presentation in the OR. I get asked this a lot. Or they do it because we've always been doing it, and the old pouch was a bad pouch and it leaked seal, and they might have changed pouches since then. So you want to look at your practice. If you're double pouching, you're costing more. Why are you double pouching? And most of the time, it's the integrity of the pouch, and the sterilization pouch is routinely tearing or ripping, and that is a reason for double pouching. You may want to select a different type of pouch or whatever you're using. Manufacturer's instructions for use. Have studies been done to support the use of double pouching? I know for us with Sterry King WePack, we actually, if you're putting in one size pouch, we have a chart that says this is the type of pouch it should go in, or you might have to make it through roll stock. So again, work with your manufacturer. Good quality manufacturers will work with you to make sure you have the best process possible. I know I take pictures everywhere, and this is of bananas in a grocery store. But again, your pill pouches should look and all face the same way. Should be arranged in the sterilization rack so that the pouches stand vertically on their edges, not too tight. All plastic face the same way. All paper face the same way. Again, you know, I walk around and see things, and that's a good visual because, you know, 80% of what we learn is by visual. Loading of the peel pouch in the sterilizer. Use the basket or other container to hold pouches upright in the chamber. Load pouches loosely in the basket to ensure that air can be removed from the package. Allow the sterilant to reach all surfaces. Never fold pouches, as folded areas can trap air and prevent sterilant penetration. And we know with steam sterilization, you run a Bowie Dick test to make sure there's no trapped air. So if you're folding that pouch and there is trapped air inside there, the sterilant is not going to get there. Critical thinking skills, understanding the basics of pill pouching 101. In a mixed load, the pouches should be placed on the top shelf in the sterilizer and arranged in a way that allows free flow of the sterilant. You can buy sterilization racks, many different sizes and shapes. They're out there. The standard supports you for doing it. Your OEM and your sterilizer probably have information on that. You want to stack it on their edge. You want to allow that sterilant to have free flow, and that's what's very important. Styles, there's a full loop, peg multi-racks, come in different sizes, should be manufactured of stainless steel. That's what you should have. And here are some examples of different types of pill pouch racks. Bad seals. Oh, I tell you, oh my God, this one on the right, I almost pulled my hair out. I could not believe what they were doing. They were taking tape and then taping it around, and then look at this air. Oh my God, I just, anyways, this is the bad. You don't want to do this. That is not an acceptable way to seal a pouch. Please, it's got to stop. For those of you who didn't attend ISHM, and I can gladly send you a copy of this, ISHM accepted our poster from HealthMark that goes over the steps of sealing and verifying your seal is a good seal in your pouch. Please contact us by email. I'll gladly send this to you. It's a great little poster to have and put up in your department. And again, it is a tool to help you. That's what it's about. We're here to help you, give you information and tools to do the best job you can. So this here, every time I show it, people want a copy of this. This is inside of a sterilizer. We're in the last couple slides here. And you will see the pouch as it goes with a vacuum pulse and what it goes through and why you need a good seal. You need a good quality pouch. And there are different pouches. There are some cheap pouches, and it's become a commodities market. You get what you paid for. But watch this, and this is time lapse, but look at what that pouch goes through. The pressure and the tension and the force on that, and you want a good seal. So again, we're here on the last couple of slides. Times they are changing. You want to put a quality process in. ST90's out there, ST91's out there. You want to train your staff to your policy. You want to walk your talk. If you can't speak to your policy, then you don't have a policy. You want process verification, functionality of your heat sealer, closing integrity of your pouches. You want your staff and your equipment verified that they know what they're doing. New terms to learn, IQ, OQ, PQ. And as always, you want to document your results. Quality doesn't cost, it pays. I've been telling people this for over 25 years. You put quality in, you'll get quality out. You use a good quality process, good quality product, you will have good quality results. I'm getting a little excited here, I'm sorry. So we're at the end. Julie, we're going to put this here. So I'm going to explain this slide. There is for you to get CEUs, both ISHM and CBSDD. I thank them both for approving this program. You will get a unique web link that you will fill out. I'll have some questions about the program and some questions to fill out. If you pass it, you will be sent that CEU. So attendees will be sent this information by email. And if you're working as a group, some of you I know are seeing this as a group in a department, you each got to fill one of these out. That's the only way you're going to do it. I guess I'll be quiet here. Well, we got about 5 minutes. If we have some questions, I'll do my best to answer them. And I thank you for attending, everybody. I'll be quiet, Julie. Sorry.
Thank you for that fantastic presentation. We'll now begin today's question and answer session. Please submit any questions you have by typing them into your control panel in the space labeled Enter a Question for Staff and clicking Send. We'll try to get through as many questions as we have time for. This audience member asks, is there a high or low humidity requirement for seal packs?
Well, that's a great question, and we're going to go back to the OEM's IFU. So each manufacturer gives storage temperature and humidity range, and this is very, very important. I believe facilities should do audits of the people they're getting their product from. So I'm going to make up a number, and I'm going to make up a silly number. I'm going to say the humidity should be between 10 and 20%. Whoever you're buying your pouch from, they have to make sure it's in a storeroom that isn't controlled in that and being shipped to you that way. So not only should you be within that range, but whoever you're buying it from should have it. So yes, there is. It's different for each pouch manufacturer, and you need to work with the OEM or the original manufacturer and read the IFU that comes with the pouches. I do want to say that I used to work in the sterile processing department. There's nothing against any supply chain or inventory people, but many times products are taken out of the original container and the IFU will be there, and then they just bring the boxes to the department, and the department, the end user, never gets that IFU. Please make sure that you are working with your supply chain people, that if there is any literature that comes with those products, it is brought to you as the end user, because there could be a warning letter or a new temperature range or whatever. You need that information. So I hope I answered the question.
Thank you for clarifying that. We have received a ton of great questions. Next one is, will you address the issues in the OR with aseptic technique problems if STD did not create a proper pouch?
I'm sorry, my earphone's a little blurry, so I didn't quite hear your whole question. Could you repeat it again, please?
Of course. Will you address the issues in the OR with aseptic technique problems if STD does not create a proper pouch?
Well, first off, there is a proper way to open a pouch, and whoever you buy your pouch from not only should work with the sterile processing staff, but should have it in service with the operating room. And with ours at Sterry King WePack, we have little thumb tags that you have to take and open up. And if you think of a pouch, there's usually a chevron. That's where the little point is. And that's how you peel. And on peel pouches, again, we didn't get into this. Most quality peel pouches will have a direction on the side of the pouch that says this is the way it should be opened. And if you open it the other way, you could get fraying and tearing. I want you to think of a tree and a grain of a tree. When you cut against that grain, it's tough and it's rough, but when you cut with the grain, it is smoother. It's the same thing as you open a peel pouch. As you open it up, it should open nice and smooth. And if you do it according to the way it says on the pouch, you should have it. So again, there is a proper way to open it up, and that should be shown to your customers or sterile processing. Remember, if you are having issues, you need to reach out to your customer and let them know that you are the expert and you're there to help them to open out the pouch properly. Hopefully I answered the question. Oh my God, it's about a minute too. Well, we'll try to take one more if we can, and then we'll figure out how to get you the answers. Okay, and the other ones. Got another one there, Julie?
Yeah, it looks like we have time for one more question. This audience member asks, what self-seal pouches do you recommend?
Oh, geez, did I pay you? Oh my God. You know what I recommend first is work with your supply chain. If you have a group purchasing contract, see who's on there. Sometimes it's sole source or single source. And if it's more than one, create a checklist of questions that you want the 2 or 3 companies to answer before you select. And if you want to contact me offline, I do have questions that are generic that I believe should be asked when you're looking at pouches. And in this case, self-seal, I'm sure I'm going to tell you to buy repack Sterilizer, but that isn't what you really want. You want a systematic way to get the best pouch for your facility, and I will help you do that. Okay?
So that is all that we have time for today. I want to thank Stephen Kobach and Healthmark Industries for the excellent presentation and to our audience for participating today. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to having you join us for future webinars.
Take care, everybody. Have a great day, and get a good seal. Bye-bye.